Now, President Donald Trump is threatening to impose a 100% tariff on films produced outside the US. He says the issue poses a national security threat. In a post on his Truth Social platform, Trump wrote that he had authorized the US Trade Representative to begin the process of taxing, quote, any and all movies coming into our country that are produced in foreign lands. Trump went into some more detail when he explained the move to reporters.
Yeah, the movie tariffs, what they've done is other nations have been stealing the movies, the movie-making capabilities from the United States. And I said to a couple of people, what do you think? I've done some very strong research over the last week, and we're making very few movies now. Hollywood is being destroyed. Now, you have an incompetent, grossly incompetent governor that allowed that to happen. So I'm not just blaming other nations, but other nations, a lot of them, have stolen our movie industry. And I'm saying, if they're not willing to make a movie inside the United States, then we should have a tariff on movies that come in. And not only that, governments are actually giving big money. I mean, they're supporting them financially.
All right, let's talk about this with Scott Roxburgh, DW's culture correspondent. Scott, has there been any reaction to this announcement by Donald Trump?
Yes, I've been spending basically the last 12 hours since I heard about the Trump announcement, talking to people in the film industry, some who just woke up in Hollywood and a lot over here in Europe. And they're all baffled, confused, and perplexed about what Donald Trump actually means and what the impact will be, because he seems to be proposing something that's never been seen before in the film industry, putting tariffs on movies, maybe even Hollywood movies that were made outside the United States, but then are distributed, shown in US theaters. This never happened before, and people are really confused as to how it could even be put in place, such a tax. And the impact is completely unknown. As I talked to one major independent producer in LA, and he said, the only thing certain is uncertainty, and that's very bad for business.
I mean, let's think about what he was saying there. I mean, are there, in fact, fewer films being produced in the US than, let's say, 10 years ago?
Yes, definitely. Donald Trump's absolutely right with that. The recent figures that were released show that about 22% fewer movies were made in the United States last year than in 2022. The numbers for LA, the number of production days in being shot in LA has gone down dramatically, about 40% compared to 10 years ago. That's a result of a couple of factors. One is that more companies are shooting outside the United States. Studios are getting tax benefits to shoot in Germany and Canada and Australia, and they're making some big movies outside the United States because of those tax benefits. And some of those movies have shifted away from LA and gone to other states like Georgia or Mississippi, who also provide tax benefits. It's essentially a question of money. It's cheaper to shoot outside the US than inside the US for a lot of these movies, and that's why studios are deciding to do so.
OK, so he's talking about tariffs. So who would these tariffs be targeting then? I mean, is it the foreign countries? Is it US film studios? Is it everyone? How would that work? Do we know?
I'd say yes, no, and maybe. I have no real idea how this system would work, from Trump's proposals will work. He seems to be targeting especially big studio movies that shoot outside the United States, getting benefit from international tax regimes. So I don't know, a film like the Minecraft movie, which shot in New Zealand and Canada. But what exactly he would tax, I'm not certain, because a film like that, shot outside the United States, yes, maybe that means loss of US jobs, but you put a tax on the budget of the film because it got money from outside. You put a tax on its box office that it earns inside the United States. It's not really clear. The system of the international film industry is very complicated, especially when it comes to taxes. And it seems very difficult to understand how a tariff system that Trump wants to impose would actually work in practice. This isn't as simple as, say, steel or aluminum. When it comes to films, it is a completely global industry, and trying to target U.S. companies because they shoot their films outside the United States, I think will be very, very difficult. In the end, these Hollywood studios are benefiting from tax incentives from outside the country, and that's actually benefiting U.S. companies. They're getting almost free money from international countries. I'm not really sure why Donald Trump wants to end that.
DW's culture correspondent Scott Roxburgh. Scott, thank you for trying to shed some light on that for us.